Now let's move on to a subject matter Major League Baseball also wouldn't want us to talk about, and that is Angel Hernandez. My God, Jeff, this weekend was the latest example. The latest example. He missed 3 pitches outside the zone and called them strikes 1, 2, and 3 in the Rangers-Astros game. Now, it didn't affect the final score, but it's just another example of how does this continue to happen and allowed to be gotten worse. Can you explain best you can to the viewers and listeners of this show how this keeps happening or is allowed to keep happening in baseball?
I think there's a very simple explanation. JP France's cutter is absolutely magical. I mean, how otherwise are you going to see a ball that's 6 inches outside the zone getting called a strike?
But it's not just that, too. And I know that some other umpires are, we're all fallible, right? We're all humans.
Sure.
It just seems there was another moment I saw on my feed where Jeff McNeil was asking if he had a timeout left in his at-bat, and Angel Hernandez said, timeout. And he's like, no, I was asking if I still had a timeout, and he just refused. It sort of reminded me like that Phil Luckett moment on Thanksgiving where he thought there was heads and not tails, and he refused to even ask for help. He refused to even consider that the argument was in front of him was a potential valid one that should make him rethink his thought process. It's just, it seems like a witch's brew of incompetence and arrogance that continues to get worse every year, Jeff. What happens?
Put it like that,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to lay it at your feet, but so what is the process here? Is it just that there's no way to rectify this, address it, anything, Jeff?
I mean, of course there's a way to address it and rectify it, especially when it comes to the balls and strikes element of it.
Yes.
And that's what's going on at AAA right now. It's interesting. Somebody in the game reached out to me a little bit earlier this week and said, why is it that balls and strikes are better at AAA than they are at the major leagues?
And
I had never thought of it that way. But if you think about it, right now the system at AAA includes automated balls and strikes, and especially the challenge system that's in place. I don't know if you saw Paul Skeens' last outing.
I did, and I saw that video.
Paul Skeens threw
twice.
Through two pitches that were on the corner and that were nasty and that were called balls. And he went, touches. Oh, can you do it one more time so I can see the
patches? Yes.
Thank you.
If only Skeens had the patches. But by the way, he was right each time. And how long did it take? Like seconds to rectify?
5 seconds. 5 seconds. It's easy. It engages fans at the ballpark. Like the challenge systems, it's really good. And when it comes to the big leagues, when the automated balls and strikes, robot umpires, however you want to call it, come to the big leagues, I do think it's probably going to be in challenge form rather than every single pitch being called by the automated system.
Makes sense.
And if that's the case, and they can right wrongs, then great. And beyond that, Rich, you know what this will do? This will hold umpires accountable publicly. The same way, or in a harsher way, frankly, that they're held accountable privately right now, but they are protected by the MLB Umpires Association. And, if Major League Baseball wanted to get rid of Angel Hernandez, who, by the way, sued them for racial discrimination and was embroiled for a long time in a federal lawsuit, well, that's the sort of thing that I think if you had the evidence of how many different times someone has gone and screwed up, it would be a lot easier, presumably, to oust that person from the spot.
So how soon are we going to see? Because, again, I saw the Paul Skeens sort of mashup again on my social feed this weekend. And while amidst my jaw hitting the table based on his remarkable talent for this kid in the Pirates organization pipeline right now, the 2 instances of him saying, no, that wasn't a ball, it was a strike. He just tapped his head, and it was immediately looked at. And I did notice the audible cheers from the crowd as they were watching the live. I guess I imagine on the Diamond Vision, for lack of a better phrase.
It's on the jumbotron.
Everybody's seeing it.
They'll put it up there, and it's very interesting. I mean, it's simple. You see a little spot right there, and then it has a trail, and then you got the box, and if it's in the zone, it says strike, and it says overturned. And if it's not, then it says ball, and the guy was going to run to first base. Like, it's a really, really simple system that, to me, achieves a whole lot in terms of accountability. Like, strikes and balls are not up to umpire judgment in a perfect world. They are binary. Either a pitch is in the zone or it's not. And the way it is with the human eye, let me say this, Rich. I think Major League umpires are incredible at calling balls and strikes. What they aren't is perfect. And if perfection is what you are looking for or hoping for, that's the ideal to achieve, that you have a uniform strike zone, then an automated system is a must-have.
Well,
right?
I mean,
it's just a necessity. And if the technology supports it at this point, then what are we waiting for?
I'm not looking for perfection, because we know that that's impossible. I'm just looking to remove the outrageous misses, by somebody that just seems to get worse every year. So just to put a button on this, it's a competition committee conversation? When do we get this at the major league level?
Could be 2025, could be 2026. One thing worth noting, though, in the last collective bargaining agreement, Rich, Major League Baseball received the ability to implement new rules in 60 days rather than over a year, which they used to have, which is to say that if this offseason MLB decides to put the ABS system in play, it will be there for next year. All right. And by the way, can I just say one more thing on accountability here?
Yes, sir.
Let's say there was a challenge system in place, and that first cutter from JP France was called the ball, went like this, and it was overturned. Angel Hernandez doesn't call those next two pitches that are even further out for strikes. And so it's in the moment changing the way that guy's umpire, which is exactly what you want, right? It's a lot better than a post-game report that says this is where you screwed up.
1,000,000%. I hope we see it sooner rather than later. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.